we are going to talk about Copilot for Microsoft 365. My name is Catherine Kwan, and I am the marketing coordinator here at ProServeIT. At the same time, I am designated to provide training and adoption workshops to our customers who recently got Copilot for Microsoft 365. So I'm super excited to discuss the benefits and use cases of Copilot. I want to first take a step back and set the scene. So, what do we know about work today? I think we can all agree that we have too many emails, too many meetings, and not enough uninterrupted time to focus. As you can see, statistics from the 2023 Microsoft Work Lab Trend Index shows that a significant percentage, more than 60% of employees say they don't have the time and energy to do their jobs, right? We spend too much time looking for information. Meanwhile, leaders and managers like you are concerned about diminishing breakthrough ideas and innovation. On a positive note, an even greater percentage, 70%, say they would be open to having AI help them with their jobs, and leaders are 2 times more likely to want to use AI to increase productivity. If you're one of the 82% of leaders who think your employees would need to learn new skills, you might want to know I'm excited to show they can start benefiting from Copilot on day one. Now, what do employees want from AI? Nearly every process and task could benefit from some degree of AI automation or augmentation. AI is not just for administrative tasks, but also for analytical and creative work, planning, and finding information and answers as well. Now, what about leaders? What do they want from AI? AI is one of the area where employees and leaders can agree upon. So data shows managers are 2 times more likely to say they're looking to empower people with AI rather than replace them. In fact, reducing headcount was last on their list. Their top hopes for AI was increasing productivity, automating tasks, increasing employee well-being, and enabling employees to focus on impactful work. Now, the promise of AI is real and transitioning is already happening. So organizations are searching for the right tools to use AI in their work, and AI will rewire every part of our organization and transform the way we work. But getting there, it's going to require a plan. But before you even jump into AI, organizations should start thinking about their foundational productivity first. So I want you to start thinking about how is your organization getting things done at work? What problems can AI solve? And how can we integrate AI into our daily activities? And the tools that we are already using, how can we protect our data as well? Is a really big question that we should start thinking about. Now, becoming an AI-powered organization, we say it begins with taking 3 key steps towards foundational productivity. So first, you would want to empower your employees with secured AI-powered tools. Second, you want to standardize on Microsoft 365. And then third, organize your sensitive business data. So what on the screen, we're now going to take a closer look at each of these 3 key steps to establishing foundational productivity. Okay, so step one, empower your employees with secure AI-powered tools. So what we mean by this is introduce your employees to secure and generative AI to prepare and empower them for the future of the workplace. Now, this is where Copilot, which was formerly known as Bing Chat Enterprise, comes in. And a big question could be, why would I even introduce Copilot to my organization? It has many benefits, including your business data is protected. So this is included for anyone who has an Entra ID, right? Copilot doesn't save the prompts or answers, nor use them to train the AI model. You also get access to powerful AI models. So Copilot uses GPT-4 for text and DALL-E 3 for images. And those are the latest in AI models. And then not to mention, this access comes at no additional cost on eligible licenses. And then last but not least, Copilot is transparent. and current. So it does cite the data sources behind its answers, and Copilot provides up-to-date answers with no knowledge cutoff, grounded in the Bing search index. Today, employees and teams can leverage Copilot to help them do tasks like summarize PDFs quickly, draft emails more efficiently, and get answers to complex questions more with ease. So, these are just some of the common Workday use cases we have seen. And later in the demo, I will show you a couple of these capabilities. Now, everyone has access to Copilot today. So this is what we've been discussing so far. Again, remember this was formerly known as Bing Chat Enterprise. Now, this is completely free to use. What I want to highlight is the difference between the consumer side, um, a, a- and a more business and organizational side, which is Copilot for Microsoft 365. So Copilot for Microsoft 365, that's what's integrated into your apps that you commonly use today. So that's Word, Outlook, Teams, PowerPoint, and Excel. Now, this is $30 USD per user per month. And you do require a product license of Microsoft 365 Business Standard or Business Premium, E3 or E5, or Office 365 E3 or E5. So those are required to purchase Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. On the last slide, we were looking at the differences between Copilot and Copilot for Microsoft 365. It is a lot to digest, so here is a simplified view to understand the differences. So you have Copilot and Copilot for Microsoft 365. They both work together to help your users in your organization be more productive while keeping company data protected. You would start with Copilot to lay down foundation of safety with commercial data protection. And then once you're ready for AI chat that's grounded in your company's data, such as emails, meetings, and files, then I would encourage you to explore Copilot for Microsoft 365. Okay, the second step to foundation of productivity is now to standardize on Microsoft 365. So just by having your data in the Microsoft 365 cloud, this will enrich your experience with Copilot and you'll be better positioned to harness AI's transformative potential. Foundational productivity starts with Microsoft 365, which is a solution that stretches across the different elements required in a modern world of work that are essential prerequisites to leveraging Copilot for Microsoft 365. So, Zero Trust ensures that every access point to your network and data is rigorously authenticated and protected, reducing the risk of security breaches. You have robust endpoint management, which allows for seamless device control, maintenance, and security enforcement, creating that stable work environment. And then you have productivity and collaboration tools, which are designed to work together to help your organization be more efficient and effective. So just through this comprehensive solution, and then as you can see, all of those capabilities with a stack of products under each, they are all designed to work together to minimize operation costs and complexity. So we believe that the zero trust and simplified endpoint management are requirements for a stellar productivity and collaboration experience. Now, taking a look at the third step is now organizing your sensitive and business data, right? So you would want to ensure protection of your internal data from accidental leakage and make sure that the users have the right access to the right internal content. With Copilot, it does inherit your organization's current Microsoft 365 security, compliance, and privacy policies. So your data is logically isolated and secure within your Microsoft 365 tenant, and it is always under your control. So as a result, Copilot for Microsoft 365 respects the user-specific and group permissions to any content or information that it retrieves, and it only generates responses based on the information that users have explicitly have permission to access. Now, Microsoft 365 allows you to even categorize some teams, so you can ensure that the correct people are participating in the right conversations. Business Premium specifically contains features like sensitivity labels and retention labels, which assists under users in applying and restricting permissions in Microsoft 365 apps, as well as setting up retention labels and email policies. So just by taking these steps, it will help ensure that the semantic index for Copilot is reasoning over the set of business contexts and content that will surface the most relevant and actionable information from within your organization to the end user, as well as preventing content oversharing and accidental leakage. Now that we've covered foundational productivity, once you have those three steps all set, your organization will now be better prepared to use Copilot for Microsoft 365 to its full potential. And the big question is, what exactly is Copilot for Microsoft 365? As we all know, Copilot is here to reinvent productivity for everyone. That's not a secret. It is integrated into the apps that you use every day, so you can focus on just what really matters to you. So Copilot combines the power of large language models with your data in the Microsoft Graph and your Microsoft 365 apps, all accessed through natural language. This way, it respects the security and access parameters you already have in place at the tenant level. And of course, that data stays within your organization. So it's grounded on the data that is indexed and the Microsoft Graph to ensure that data provided is from within your tenant. Now, I just threw a bunch of words at you. You have your large language models, you have a Microsoft Graph, index. What does that all mean? Now, Copilot isn't just a better way of doing the same things, it's an entirely new way of working. So, for all the value that Copilot for Microsoft 365 brings to individual users and their broader organizations, the architecture itself is fundamentally simple. It is an orchestrator and large language model built on top of the existing Microsoft 365 solution, and all of this takes place within the compliance boundary. So, this means that Copilot combines the power of cutting edge LLMs with your specific content in Microsoft Graph. So that is your documents, your emails, calendars, chats, meetings, and contacts, and other business data as well to deliver accurate, relevant, and contextual responses. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 works alongside you, embedded in the apps that we all use every day. Now you can be more creative in Word, more analytical in Excel, more expressive in PowerPoint, more productive in Outlook, and more collaborative in Teams. To give you a better picture of the Copilot system, here is a diagram of how it works. It is a lot on the eyes, but we will go through it step by step. If we're looking in the top left-hand corner, it all starts with a prompt in your app. So that could be Teams, Outlook, or PowerPoint. Copilot is going to pre-process the prompt through an approach that we call grounding. Now, this step just ensures that responses aren't general, but specific and relevant to your task. So during this phase, Copilot is going to consult the Microsoft Graph and the semantic index. So this is what you see right over here to gather related data from your organization. And importantly, it only accesses data the user is already permitted to seeing based on their role and permissions in Microsoft 365. Copilot is now going to combine this user data from the graph with other inputs to improve the prompt. And it's going to send this modified prompt to the LLM, or also known as large language model. Copilot then will take this response from the LLM and it's going to post-process it. Now, this post-processing includes additional grounding calls to the graph. That can be your responsible AI checks, security, compliance, and privacy reviews, and command generation. Then finally, Copilot's going to send this response back to the user and command back to the apps. So that's why the results are very closely tied to your organization's specific data, ensuring relevance and context that just feels like magic. Now, I mentioned the word semantic index, which is right over here beside the graph, Microsoft Graph. And for the purpose of understanding what the semantic index is, this is what makes Copilot deliver personalized, relevant, and actionable responses. So I want you to think of the semantic index like a map of your user and company data. It identifies relationships and makes important connections working with that Copilot system and the Microsoft Graph. So today, people are mostly familiar with keyword search, which relies on exact words and phrases. So when you search up, for example, March sales report, you're going to get a list of documents that include those exact 3 words. But a semantic index understands that the sales report are produced by Kelly on the finance team and published each month as an Excel file. That semantic index encodes all of those concepts and relationships between concepts and vectors in the index. Once again, Semantic Index for Copilot analyzes your data, so your emails, documents, calendars, chats, and more in the Microsoft Graph. And then it uses the large language model to map up all the content and the relationships between your content and you, just searching through billions of vectors to find the most relevant results in milliseconds. So just to recap one more time. Semantic index identifies those relationships and makes important connections to deliver personalized, relevant, and actionable responses, and it does so in a secure, compliant, and privacy-preserving way. We're going to take a look at an example of the semantic index. In this scenario, the user has misspelt a request to find the information on Project Melbourne shiproom. So on the left-hand side, this is what we're very familiar with. Now, this is without the semantic index for Copilot. So just by using keyword matching and the Microsoft Graph, the results attempt to predict what we're searching for and provide the closest match possible. In this example, our intent hasn't been captured on the left-hand side. However, it does find links adjacent to the content that we can interact with, and in many cases may lead us to what we're searching for. But if you look on the right-hand side, this is the semantic index for Copilot. So as you can see, our misspelt word has been recognized as organizational jargon, and it's even been autocorrected to provide a starting search point. So what you can see, the results show the most relevant paragraph in the most relevant document to your query about Project Melbourne without even needing to open up the document. It also gives you the latest shiproom deck available to you with the most update information. And it also shares insights on whether you have interacted with the content in the results previously as well. And there are also AI-generated questions and answers that are provided in a single search pane to help you think differently about the topic and reduce the amount of time searching for further information. Now, if you can't already tell, the pace of work has increased exponentially along with the crush of data, information, and always on communications. Now, people are really struggling to shoulder the weight of it all, while business leaders feel the pressure to increase productivity amid economic uncertainty. The intensity of work is and always on communication are outpacing our ability to keep up. Now, AI is poised to create a whole new way of working. So in March, we introduced Copilot for Microsoft 365, and for many, the platform shift to AI is already underway. Organizations that embrace AI will unleash creativity, unlock productivity for everyone, ushering a new wave of productivity growth and value creation. The feedback that we've seen and the data that Microsoft is also collecting from Copilot's earliest users underscore that fact. As you can see, 68% said Copilot improved the quality of their work, 70% said it made them more productive, and with 70% saying they wouldn't even want to give Copilot up. We're now going to take a deeper look at how Copilot is helping address role-specific pain points. I'll provide a few examples about how Copilot can be added to the daily routine of employees to help with various tasks and scenarios. Over the next few slides, I'll show you how Copilot for Microsoft 365 appears in many of the apps your organization uses every day. So we'll look at how adding generative AI capabilities to your Microsoft 365 apps, so such as Word, Outlook, Teams, and more will help your employees create, communicate, and collaborate more effectively. So as we go through these, I just want you to think about your own organization, what your teams have been asking for, and then think about how Copilot may be able to help them. So we have Copilot in Word, and Whether you're someone who writes every day or someone who needs help getting a new document started for the first time, I think we can all agree that writer's block can happen to anyone. But what if your users could leverage Copilot to get started, enhance, and even fine-tune? So Copilot in Word allows you to stay in the flow of your ideas while drafting new content and transform your content once you have your ideas even written. So Copilot can rewrite your text, including adjustments for tone. Copilot can also transform your text into editable tables as well. And with Copilot in Word, you can create a business plan for a new mobile pet grooming service, or you can write a marketing plan for a new house painting business. You can even create a cover letter for a finance officer role. So you can ask even Copilot in a document, what are the key points in this doc, or even summarize this whole document. We all use email, but what if some of your employees could use the power of AI to manage their emails and time more efficiently? So Copilot in Outlook can help you with various tasks such as creating new emails, responding to existing emails, summarizing conversations, and preparing for meetings. Here are some of the things that you can do with Copilot for Outlook. So that could be creating new emails, responding to existing ones, and even summarizing whole email threads as well. Now we have Copilot in Teams. It is easy to use and always ready to help. So it does work alongside you in your online meetings and chats, and it does help you capture and share the key points, action items, and outcomes of your work. Copilot in Teams is a huge benefit for anyone in your organization, but it can be also a game changer for those who work in a team setting that also resolves customer issues. For example, with Copilot in Teams, you can run effective meetings by summarizing the main discussion points or identifying areas of agreement or disagreement and suggestions for action items in real time. You can get up to speed on conversations by quickly reviewing main points, action items, and you can even find and use information that's buried in documents, presentations, emails, just by asking natural language questions and getting relevant answers as well. Now, Copilot's graph grounded chat works across all of your emails, files, meetings, chats, documents, calendars, and more to turn all your data into knowledge. Copilot chat is like your knowledge navigator. It brings together information from multiple sources to keep everyone on your team on the same page and moving forward. And then last but not least, we have Copilot for Excel, which enables anyone to analyze and visualize data like a data analyst. So it can analyze trends and create professional looking data visualizations in seconds, and it can reveal correlations, propose what if scenarios, and even suggest new formulas based on your questions as well. So you can quickly add a formula column. You can highlight key data with a prompt like make all cells red where the value is under 1,000, and filter and sort your data and ask questions to instantly cover key insights. And that now brings me to the demo portion of the briefing. So we're going to look at Copilot in all the different apps, but we're first going to start with Copilot in the chat. So this is your graph grounded chat with Copilot, very similar to ChatGPT. The main difference that I want to show is we have this commercial data protection symbol here. So when I am logged into my Entra ID, as you can see here, Copilot has this symbol saying your commercial data protection. So you know your data is protected in this chat. You'll also see it below here as well. The first thing I wanted to show the difference is since I have a Copilot for Microsoft 365 license, you'll see there's a work tab and a web tab. So when I switch over to my work tab, this is what Copilot will actually go into my meetings, my emails, my chats. If I switch over to the web, then we're also going to be having that web-based search as well. So we're going to switch over to the work, and I'm accessing Copilot through copilot.microsoft.com. So if you search up this link, you'll find Copilot right here. We're just going to ask Copilot to give me a summary about the emails I received this week. So a simple prompt like this, let's say you were on vacation for a couple of weeks ago and you want to catch up on what's going on in your email, Copilot can give you a nice summary about that. So as you can see, here are some couple things that's in my Outlook. One of my colleagues has assigned me a task. There's also been some other emails that have been sent to me. So here is a nice summary about, the emails that I received last week. As you can see, there's the 7 references. If I open this up, you can actually open up this email and it will bring up the email in Outlook. So here you go. So that is a really easy navigation this way, right? Here I have a web page creation that we're going to work on. So that is something that Copilot can do, and that's where it's pulling those references from in where you see these little numbers. If we go ahead and start a new chat, for example, let's create an email. Draft, maybe let's do June. Draft an email invite about the upcoming Copilot briefing session in June, right? Let's say you want to have an email draft, Copilot can actually do that for you. And since it does have access to my data and my meetings, it will go through some of that information and it can find some information for that draft. And there you go. Here is a draft that it came up with. June 6th, that is our next briefing session from 2 to 3:30 because it knows, like, it went through my meetings and it's able to see that. Okay, let's go try one more other thing. So Copilot can actually create meeting notes. So let's say you had a meeting from last week that you want to generate meeting notes for. If it was recorded, Copilot can actually go through that transcript and create some meeting notes for you. So I have the prompt generate meeting notes from, and I just did a front slash. You'll see it will go through the files, and then here we have also the meetings that we can take some meeting notes from. If we remember, for example, the meeting that it was called, let's say training for some graphics, we can generate meeting notes this way. So really easy. You don't have to go through the transcript. Copilot can actually do that for us. And there you go. So there was a meeting between myself, Victoria, and Amelia. I demonstrated a couple things. And as you can see, I gave some tips. And there are a couple things here that we got from the meeting. So really great way to do some meeting notes with Copilot. Now, I mentioned that Copilot can summarize a PDF. So right now we're looking at a PDF that's 35 pages. Right now I am using the Microsoft Edge browser, and I would highly recommend using that because you'll see a Copilot button right in the top right corner. Now, when you click that, it will open up Copilot right here along your browser. It's the exact same thing as this chat as well, except that it's just right here along when you're searching through the web. Now, Copilot it understands what it's actually looking at in the browser. For example, I can ask Copilot to give me 5 important key takeaways from this PDF because it knows, the PDF that we're looking at. It could also even be a web page. So let's say you wanted to ask Copilot some questions about a web page. You can even pull up that Copilot Edge sidebar, and it will give you some answers that way. So as you can see, I asked for 5 key takeaways from the PDF, and Copilot is, going through that PDF and showing me 5 key points. So there's 1, productivity gains, quality of work, time savings, role-specific benefits, and then organization impact, as you can see. It's pretty cool. And let's say you want to learn a bit more. Remember, it is a chat, so we could even ask Copilot, tell me more about time savings, right? And now Copilot's now going to look deeper into time savings on, as you can see, daily time savings, task efficiency, and all that stuff. So Pretty cool finding information this way with Copilot. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is Copilot can also generate images. So we're going to flip back to the web, and you have to be on the web if you do have a license for Copilot to work with images. Now we're just going to go ahead and ask Copilot to create an image of green hills with a blue sky, and let's make it creative. So now our image is generating, and there is our green hill with blue sky. So pretty cool. You can get really creative with generating images with Copilot. Okay, we're going to move on into Copilot in the apps. So here we are going to look at Copilot in Outlook. Now, I mentioned that Copilot can summarize email thread. Here is an email thread that we have. So it's pretty long. All you have to really do is summary by Copilot. So just by clicking that button, Copilot's going to now go through my email chain that we've been attached to, and you'll see here is the summary of what this whole thread is about. And there's also those same references that we saw in the Copilot chat. So easy navigation this way to go straight down to an email. Okay, we're now going to create a new email. You'll see Copilot in two different places. So you have it right in the messaging area, and then you also have Copilot in the top ribbon. So if I click Drafts with Copilot, it's going to open that prompt box for us. And a simple email that you can draft up, for example, write an email to invite the marketing team out for lunch next week for a team get together. You can also change the tone or the length of it, and you can just draft emails this way. So that is a second option for you to draft emails. Could be right in Outlook, or like we saw previously in the Microsoft 365 chat. So as you can see, hello everyone, right? How does Wednesday sound? Do you want to go out for lunch? We can keep it, discard it, or you can even regenerate it. And you can also make changes as well if you would like. Let's say we keep it and we're happy with how this sounds. What I wanted to show is coaching by Copilot. Now, coaching by Copilot will actually look at the structure of your emails, and it will give you suggestions on your tone, your clarity, and even reader sentiment. So it's a nice feature that Copilot for Outlook has. We'll see what Copilot suggests. So as you can see, we can be more enthusiastic. We can maybe engage the reader more, and maybe the clarity, let's use clear and concise language. Really cool coaching points that Copilot can give you. Okay, we're going to move on to Copilot in Word. Similar to Copilot in Outlook, you'll see it in two different places. So you have it right on the page itself, which will open up that prompt box that we were familiar with. And then you have Copilot also and similar to the Edge sidebar, but it will stick into the document. When you open up this one, you can ask Copilot anything about a document you're looking at. This prompt box is more when you're trying to generate content. So for example, I just want to show you how quickly Copilot can draft something for you. So we're going to create a project outline for a sports summer camp. Like I mentioned in the briefing earlier, sometimes we get writer's block and we don't know where to start. Copilot is definitely very helpful for getting that first draft for us. As you can see, we have some objectives, activities that the summer camp will have, and it will give you your ideas and that nice first draft, like I mentioned, right? And even created a schedule for us. It all really depends on the prompt that you put in Copilot, but you can ask for specific things that you want in your project plan or anything else that you're creating. We also have a budget, expected outcomes as well. So as you can see, here is our project outline. So really quickly, it did create a draft for us. What I always want to make sure that everyone understands is Copilot is here to help us, but it's not going to replace us, right? We do always have to check our work that Copilot has given us, because you never know, maybe there needs to be some changes that you want within your document. But again, like I said, it does have a good starting point for us. So let's say, for the sake of this demo, that we are happy with everything, this is exactly what we want. You can even have images in your project plan, for example. It will know what we're talking about. We're talking about a sports camp. So it does do some suggestions that way. And even if you want, you can even rewrite whole sections. If you just highlight it, click Copilot again, you can auto rewrite sections or even use a prompt to rewrite things. So that's very handy. Okay, we're now going to take this Word document. I'm just going to copy and paste this link and we're going to create a presentation out of it. So let's say we now want to use our project and present it to one of our team members, for example. We're going to do that. So we'll have Copilot right here in the top ribbon, as you can see. So we'll open that up, open Copilot up, and as simple as just copy and pasting that Word document into PowerPoint, you can create a presentation from it. It will now look at that Word document, look at the contents in it. It's going to take where it will create those slides from, and it will generate a good amount of slides in a very short amount of time. So as you can see, we have the introduction, objectives, activities, which is exactly what we had in our Word document. And now we're going ahead and generating slides. Probably within less than 5 minutes, we have a whole PowerPoint for us. Here we go. So same thing. We have the outline for the presentation, and now it's just generating the slides. Almost there. And it's also adding speaker notes. Yes, I forgot to mention that, but there you go. So here are our slides for the project for the summer camp. And as you can see, Copilot actually knows what we're talking about. So it will put some images of what you're discussing. If you click on that designer tab, you can actually change the layout of how you want your slides to look. So I find that very helpful when you're designing your PowerPoints this way. Okay, let's go back over here. We have two more that I'll show, and then that kind of wraps up the demo. So we're going to look at Excel. So Copilot for Excel. Very similar, Copilot's in the top ribbon. We're going to open that up. Copilot in Excel is in preview mode right now, but we will do an example of what Copilot in Excel can do. So your data does have to be in a table like this. And we're just going to go ahead and ask Copilot to please provide a column. So Copilot's going to look at your data. It's going to look at how your table is, and it will create formula suggestions. And you'll notice that even in my prompt, I didn't even ask for a formula. Copilot will understand that profit equals revenue minus budget. You can even see the explanation on how it came up with that formula. And then as you can see, you can insert a column really easily with Copilot that way. And another thing I wanted to show you was also, even if you have the prompts that it already asked, you can show data insights with Copilot, and it will create graphs for you, visualizations, like I mentioned in the briefing earlier today. So as you can see, we have profit by launch date, the sum of profit in thousands, and then Copilot even created a pivot chart for us. So we can just directly add this to a new sheet. And then you have your graph right here and your pivot chart. And you could even just copy and paste this into a PowerPoint presentation, for example, if you needed to. Okay, we're almost getting there. The last bit I wanted to show was Copilot in Teams. This is our Microsoft Teams meeting right now. You'll see Copilot again in the top, so we'll click that. And here we have Copilot right within our meeting. We do have it recorded and transcribed right now. So as simple as asking Copilot summarize the Teams meeting, it will give you a nice summary of what we've been talking about so far today. And with Copilot, I find what's really cool is no one else can see this, right? This is your Copilot that you're using. And you can ask Copilot any questions while you're in a meeting without even interrupting someone or what did someone say. So Copilot can actually do that for us. And as you can see, I'm presenting about Copilot for Microsoft 365. So here's a really nice summary that way. You can even ask action items or recap the meeting, and you'll always see there's certain prompts that you can even ask Copilot to, right? Generate meeting notes. Are there any questions that are unresolved? So that is Copilot in Teams. And I did want to also show really quickly Copilot in Teams. I have Copilot chat actually pinned to my Teams as well. So you can have that chat interface right within Teams. So you don't even need to go use the web as well. So I wanted to show that as well because that's very handy, right? And you can just use Copilot as you would in the browser. I hope that was really helpful. And I hope you were able to learn a lot about Copilot and you were able to see when the different apps. And I hope you have a great day.